The city never slept, but that night it felt unusually quiet to Aria Lynn. She stood at the edge of the crosswalk, the glow of neon lights reflecting in her eyes, clutching her worn-out bag close to her chest. The buildings around her were tall, powerful, and intimidating, just like the people who ruled them. Aria had lived in this city for 3 years, yet it still felt like a place that tolerated her presence rather than welcomed it. She was ordinary, painfully ordinary, a junior architect in a mid-sized firm, struggling to pay rent, surviving on instant noodle dreams that seemed too fragile for a city this ruthless. She believed in hard work, kindness, and quiet perseverance, values that didn't always pay well in a world obsessed with power and money. That night, she didn't know her life was about to collide with a man who owned half the skyline she admired every day. The black luxury car stopped abruptly at the red light. Inside, CEO Adrian Lu loosened his tie, irritation clear on his sharp features. His day had been filled with board meetings, hostile takeovers, and people who smiled only because they wanted something from him. At 28, he was already a legend in the business world, a self-made billionaire known for his cold decisions and ruthless efficiency. He trusted numbers, not people. Control, not emotions. As his eyes wandered outside the window, they landed on her. Aria stood under the streetlight, slightly hunched, her hair tied in a loose ponytail, a few strands dancing around her face in the night breeze. She looked tired, but there was something gentle about her presence, something real. For a reason he couldn't explain, Adrian kept staring. When the light turned green, the driver hesitated. "Sir," the driver asked. Adrian snapped back, "Drive." But even as the car moved forward, his gaze lingered on the girl, disappearing into the crowd. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her world, yet something about her unsettled him. Fate, it seemed, had its own plans. 2 weeks later, Aria found herself standing inside the grand lobby of Lu Corporation, staring at a ceiling so high it made her dizzy. Her firm had landed a small interior redesign contract for one of Lu Group's subsidiaries, and she had been chosen unexpectedly to present the concept. Her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted her glasses. "Relax," her colleague whispered. "We're nobodies here. Just present and leave." That word, nobodies, hit harder than it should have. When the elevator doors opened, she stepped into the executive floor and froze. Sitting at the head of the conference table was the man from the streetlight, Adrian Lu. He looked even more intimidating up close. Tailored suit, calm posture, eyes sharp enough to read lies before they were spoken. His gaze lifted, and the moment their eyes met, something unspoken passed between them. Recognition. Aria felt her heart stumble. It's him. Adrian felt it too, the girl. The meeting proceeded, but neither of them truly heard the words being exchanged. When Aria stood to present, her voice was steady despite her nerves. She spoke with quiet confidence, explaining her ideas not with arrogance but with sincerity. Adrian listened, really listened. She wasn't trying to impress him. She was simply being herself, and that was dangerous. After the meeting ended, the executives left one by one. Aria gathered her files quickly, eager to escape the pressure of the room. Just as she turned to leave, a calm voice stopped her. "Miss Lin," she turned. Adrian stood up, walking toward her slowly. Each step felt deliberate, controlled. "Your design focuses on warmth rather than luxury." "Why?" Aria swallowed. "Because people work better when they feel human, not small." Silence. Then, to everyone's shock, Adrian just slightly, "Interesting," he said. "You may go." Aria nodded and left, unaware that from that moment on, she had captured the attention of a man who never lost interest once something became his. Days turned into weeks. Adrian found reasons to call her firm, small revisions, personal feedback requests. Each time, Aria was the one sent. She told herself it was professional. But the way his eyes followed her, the way his tone softened only with her, that wasn't business. One evening, as rain poured outside, Aria stayed late to finish revisions. When she finally stepped out, the streets were empty and dark. A car stopped beside her. Her heart jumped. "Get in," Adrian said calmly. "What?" she asked, startled. "It's raining. I'll drop you home." "I can take the bus." That wasn't a question. There was something possessive in his voice that made her hesitate, then obey. Inside the car, silence wrapped around them. The rain tapped gently against the windows. "You don't trust me," Adrian said suddenly. "I don't know you." "That's honest," he replied. "I like that." She smiled faintly, and just like that, something shifted. They began to meet outside work. Coffee turned into dinners. Dinners into late-night conversations. Adrian discovered that Aria loved old books, quiet parks, and handwritten notes. Aria discovered that behind Adrian's cold exterior was a man who carried loneliness like an old wound. But happiness never comes without fear. Adrian was powerful, influential, watched. When rumors started about the CEO and the ordinary architect, Aria felt the weight of judgment pressing down on her. "You don't belong in his world," people whispered. One night, overwhelmed, she tried to pull away. "We should stop this," she said quietly. Adrian stared at her, disbelief flashing in his eyes. "Why?" "Because I'm not strong enough for your world," she admitted. He stepped closer, his presence overwhelming yet protective. "You don't get to decide that," he said firmly. "I choose you." Before she could respond, he leaned in, not rough, not rushed, but certain. His lips met hers in a kiss that was possessive, protective, and full of unspoken promise. Not ownership, but commitment. Aria felt it then, the truth she could no longer deny. She wasn't just a passing interest. She was the one thing this powerful man was willing to protect at any cost. The kiss lingered longer than Aria expected, not because it was desperate, but because it was certain. When Adrian finally pulled away, his forehead rested against hers. His hand was still at her waist, firm, as if letting go would mean losing her forever. I don't kiss casually, he said quietly, and I don't chase things I'm not ready to keep. Aria's heart pounded. Adrian, your world isn't gentle. He looked at her, eyes dark but steady. Then I'll make a gentler place in it for you. For the first time, she believed him. But love, especially when it involved power and difference, never stayed hidden for long. The rumors grew louder. Board members noticed. Investors whispered. Headlines didn't name her. But everyone knew who the mysterious woman close to CEO Adrian Lu was. Aria began to feel eyes on her everywhere, at work, on the streets, even in cafes she once loved. What hurt most wasn't the attention. She's using him. She doesn't belong. She'll slow him down. One evening she overheard two colleagues talking. He'll get bored. One said, men like him always do. That night, Aria didn't answer Adrian's calls. Adrian felt it immediately, the distance. He was used to losing deals, not people. He sent messages she didn't reply to. When he went to her apartment, the lights were off. For the first time in years, control slipped through his fingers. Days later, she finally met him, but not for the reason he hoped. I think we should take a step back, Aria said softly, eyes lowered. Adrian's jaw tightened. Is this because of the rumors? This is because I don't want to be the weakness people use against you, she replied. I don't want you to protect me by destroying yourself. He stepped closer. You are not a weakness. I am, she whispered. Annoyed, she turned away before he could stop her. That night, Adrian Lu learned what helplessness felt like. Weeks passed. Adrian buried himself in work. The city continued moving, but something inside both of them stood still. Then came the crisis. A hostile takeover attempt hit Lu Corporation, brutal public. Adrian's rivals used every weapon they had, including rumors about his emotional instability. In a board meeting filled with cold faces, one man finally said it aloud. You've changed, Adrian. Adrian stood up slowly. No, he said. I've become honest. They expected anger. Instead, they saw resolve. He shut down the takeover attempt with ruthless precision, but when it ended, he didn't feel victorious. He felt empty. Aria learned about the crisis from the news. She saw Adrian's photo, calm, composed, alone. And for the first time, she understood something clearly. She hadn't been protecting him by leaving. She had been abandoning both of them. That night, she went to Lu Tower. Security tried to stop her, but when Adrian heard her name, he ordered them to let her through. When the elevator doors opened, he stood there, tired, eyes shadowed, strength held together by will alone was wrong. Aria said before fear could stop her. He said nothing. I thought love meant stepping away. She continued, but love also means staying even when it's hard. Adrian walked toward her slowly. You broke me, he said honestly. I know, she replied, tears forming. But if you let me, I'll stay and help you rebuild. Silence filled the space. Then he pulled her into his arms. This time, the kiss wasn't just possessive. It was homecoming. The world didn't suddenly become kind. But Adrian stopped hiding. At a public event weeks later, he took Aria's hand in front of everyone. This woman, he said calmly, is not my weakness. She is my anchor. The headlines changed, not because people became good, but because confidence silenced doubt. Months later, on a quiet rooftop overlooking the city, Aria leaned against Adrian's shoulder. You still own half this skyline, she teased. He smiled. And you own the part of me I never knew was missing. The city lights glowed below them, loud, endless, powerful. But above it all, two people stood together, no longer afraid of the difference between their worlds. Because love hadn't made them smaller. It had made them fearless. Teach E and